So it's been just over 2 years since Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos took over the footballing side of things at Manchester United. And I thought, why not? Today we're going to rank every single signing they have made thus far. Now, I think there's 13 overall, but we are going to exclude Diego Leon and Chido Obi because they were brought in as sort of players for the academy, whereas Aidan Heaven has featured prominently for the first team. Let's start with our most expensive signing of the first transfer window under Ineos, and that is Lenny Yuro. He was brought in for a very, very big fee, but we fended off interest from Real Madrid to land him. I mean, we spent, what, 55, 60 million pounds on Lenny Yuro, and so far, you could say he's not really lived up to that sort of price tag, but again, he's young. I mean, we signed him as an 18-year-old kid. He was obviously coming up through at Lille, and he was linked with all the big clubs in the world, and we managed to land him. And as soon as we managed to get hold of Lenny Yuro, I was like, well, Ineos mean business. They know what they're doing. They're going after these sort of young talents, and we're getting them. We're beating the likes of Real Madrid to star signings like Lenny Yuro. I think overall, Lenny Yuro has been quite good. I quite like Lenny Yuro. I think when I watch him, he very rarely puts a foot wrong. I mean, he struggled sort of under Amorim towards the end of the Amorim tenure, and he's obviously not really featured too heavily under Michael Carrick so far, but we're winning games and he needs to understand that. He's 19 now, 20 years of age, so he shouldn't be demanding to start so many games, especially when you've got the likes of Martinez and Maguire ahead of you. It also doesn't help that we're only playing one game a week, does it? I mean, it really doesn't help. It doesn't help that it was Erik ten Hag who brought him into the club, wasn't it? And then he got sacked a couple of months into the reign, and then Yuro was very rarely used properly. He was used in a back three under Amorim, which again, I don't think he's the best at. I think he is better in a back two. I think his future is at Manchester United. He's only just signed for the club last year, so he's still got bags of time to be able to develop and get in it. And I think I can see a long-term future with him and Martinez as the back two. He looks more physical now as well. It's clear to see he's been banging the gym. He looks wham, and he looks ready to feature whenever Michael Carrick needs him. I mean, it would help if we were in other competitions. The fact we've only got the Premier League to focus on is obviously going to dampen his minutes a little bit, but he needs to be patient. I think he will have the patience, and I think next season could be the year Lenny Yuro does shine at Man United. I think overall I'll give Lenny Yuro a 7 out of 10 so far for his tenure at United. I don't think he's set the world alight, but I think he has been above average when he's played. Again, the price tag is a massive thing, but to get him ahead of the likes of Real Madrid at the time was massive. Manuel Ugarte up next. Now, where do we even start with him? Because he cost a lot of money as well. He was one of those players we were chasing all window. Like, we really, really wanted Manuel Ugarte, and we finally got him. I think we got him on deadline day in the end, which, yeah, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how it took so long. That's one thing I would be critical of Ineos for with this signing in particular, how long it took to get Manuel Ugarte. It was clear we wanted him. It was clear they wanted him. It was clear Ugarte wanted us, so I don't know why it took so long to get him. He cost a lot of money as well, you know. I think people forget he was like 40, 50 million pounds. A lot of money from PSG. I think he was 23 at the time. He's still quite young, 24, 25, but he hasn't been great for us. I think every time I watch Ugarte, it is a struggle. It is a struggle because when he plays against the big teams, he's fine. He comes on, he breaks up play, and he passes it sideways or backwards. That's what he's good at. He's good at doing that. It's when we're playing these smaller teams and we've got to try and penetrate the defence, we've got to try and do those line-breaking passes like we saw Casemiro do against Fulham the other day. He can't do that. He doesn't have that in his repertoire. I mean, his passing is abysmal. Ugarte cannot pass a football. He is dreadful at it. But I think he's quite useful coming on in games and sort of breaking up play at the end of games, getting in a little bit of a scrap and trying to retain the ball, trying to win the ball back for us, So I think that is part of his game that I do quite like, but that is sort of it. It's slim pickings with Ugarte, and for the money he cost, he hasn't really done it in a United shirt so far. I think I'd actually rate it like a 3 out of 10. I don't think it's a signing that's worked whatsoever. I don't think he's been great for us, and I think it'd suit both parties if we moved on in the summer and brought someone else in. Now, Matthijs de Ligt is a signing that when it was made, I was absolutely ecstatic. I was buzzing because this is a player I think Man United have looked at ever since he was at Ajax under Erik ten Hag back in the day. He was captain in those Ajax sides at 19, and he's a player that I think Man United have been linked to heavily over the last 4 or 5 years. So he went to Juventus from Ajax, didn't really work out there before going to Bayern Munich, where I think Bayern fans liked him, but ultimately he was moved on to come to us for quite a cheap fee. I mean, I think it was only 35, 40 million pounds, which for a player like Matthijs de Ligt, who, he's 25, 26, he's in his prime years, I think that's a steal. He was featuring quite regularly under Erik ten Hag, but obviously then he got sacked, Amorim came in, and then he was sort of in and out of the team in the back three. He was playing quite a lot, but he was one of those players that Amorim always subbed off because he loves taking a defender off, and it seemed to be De Ligt quite often. But this season, under Amorim as well, he was probably our player of the season up until he got injured. I still don't know why he's out. I think it's a back injury, but he's been out for ages. Oh my God, he's been out for a very long time. And up until that injury, he was our player of the season. I stand by that. I think there's other players like Burmo and Cunha and Bruno Fernandes have sort of maybe propelled him in that pecking order now, but that's just because he's been out for 2 months. I think when he comes back, it will be interesting to see what Michael Carrick does, because I think he probably should be starting. I would have him and Martinez as the back two. As good as Maguire is, I'd still be starting De Ligt over him. And like I said, he's still relatively young. He's in his prime years. I think he's got so much more to give in a Man United shirt. I rate the signing a 7 out of 10 again for De Ligt. I think it can be better, and I think it will be better. I think we'll be looking back at this signing in a few years' time saying, what a signing. Probably a 9 out of 10 in a few years, because I think he's going to win trophies here. I think he's going to help us get back to the top, ultimately. Joshua Zirkzee, I think, was one of the signings we made very early on in Ten Hag's last transfer window and the first window of Ineos. A striker that sort of isn't known for scoring goals. I mean, when he came in, he was sort of known as a 9.5. He wasn't a 10. He wasn't a number 9. He was sort of in the middle. And it's clear to see that he was right. And that is exactly what he is. He isn't prolific in front of goal, but linking up play and feeding the wingers, getting them involved in the play. I mean, that's what he's good at. He's good at dropping in deep and 1-touch, 2-touch little passes and sort of getting us up the pitch and getting us in good areas. He's great at holding up the ball. I think when he takes defenders on, he is quite good. He's not the quickest. He's not the great in the air. I mean, he's absolutely dreadful in the air. For a 6'4" striker, he's terrible. Maybe that's his hair though, I don't know. But I do like Zirkzee. I like him as a person. I think he's very charismatic. I think he loves the club, you can tell. But again, I don't think it's a long-term plan. I don't think it's a long-term plan for him to be at United. I think he will move on in the summer as well. Again, like I said, he hasn't scored too many goals, and he had that rough patch in the first half of last season. But I'd say he's been about... Has he been average? I mean, average is a 6. Has Joshua Zirkzee been average at United? I'd say he has. I'd say Zirkzee's been a 6 out of 10 signing. This video is of course brought to you by the guys over at Best ZV. By now you know what they're all about. Best ZV are the best website to get your football shirts from. They're so cheap, they're so reliable, and they've got a range of shirts to choose from. For example, I picked up this Werder Bremen shirt. You know me, they're my German team. I do like a bit of Werder Bremen. And I also went with this retro Napoli one. Now that is a thing of beauty. So you can get your retro shirts, you can get your current season shirts. There's so much to choose from. Head over to Best ZV now and get your shirts today. Now we're on to Mazraoui. Was part of a little double signing we made with Bayern Munich, obviously alongside Matthias de Ligt, but he only cost £12 million, so straight away you're looking at an absolute bargain there. I mean, everyone knows how good Mazraoui is. He was excellent at Ajax as well under Erik Ten Hag, and he continued to do that at Bayern Munich. I don't know why he was sort of that cheap. Maybe politics comes into it, but he has been... I think he's underrated, Mazraoui. I do think he's very underrated. I do think he's better than Diogo Dalot. As much as Dalot's improved the last few weeks, I would be starting Mazraoui every day of the week. I think he's a natural fit at that right-back slot for Man United. And even if he was just average, for 12 million quid, that's what you want. He's adding competition to the full-back position with Diogo Dalot. He obviously struggled when we went to that back five under Amorim because he isn't a wing-back, and then he was sort of playing as a centre-back as well when we had injuries, so he couldn't really fit. But now we're back to a back four. I think you're going to see him thrive till the end of the season. I think he's going to have a big part to play in our season. I think Mazraoui's an 8 out of 10 signing, you know. I really do, just because of how cheap he was and what he can provide for us. I mean, he adds good depth, he adds good quality to the squad, so I'd give him an 8. I think that's a very, very smart move. I mean, obviously, he came in to replace Wan-Bissaka as well. I think that was an upgrade. So yeah, I'm really happy with Mazraoui. Now to the 2 signings we made in January of last season, starting with Patrick Dorgu. Now, he was brought in as a flying wing-back from Lecce in Italy for around £30 million. I'm really impressed with Dorgu. I remember when we first signed him, he was sort of struggling. I didn't think he was a left-back. I said that from the minute we signed him. I was like, he seems to be a winger. I mean, it's all right me saying that now, because he is obviously transitioned into a winger and he's been absolutely phenomenal these last few weeks, but I said it straight away. I don't know what it was. I just didn't think he was great defensively, but going forward, he did have something about him. I'm gutted he's got injured. I'm really gutted he's got injured because the performances he was putting in against City and against Arsenal under Carrick, obviously Carrick trusted him. He started him in both of those games on the left-hand side and scored 2 great goals. And I think it's just going to dampen his progress a little bit, that injury. It's going to hurt us, but it's going to hurt him as well. A young player like that to be out with that hamstring injury for, 2 or 3 months, it's going to hurt him. I hope he can get back fully fit because, yeah, he's been excellent these last few weeks. He's been excellent this season, to be totally honest with you. I'd give him a 7 so far because I think the first season we had him, that first half a year, he wasn't amazing, but he's still young. You're forgetting how young Dorgu actually is, and he was brought in as a left-back, and it's clear to see he's not. It's clear to see Carrick's getting the best out of him further up the pitch. And then Aidan Heaven was brought in from Arsenal for around £1 million in that January window, and I thought he was going to be an academy player. I think he featured a few times for the academy, but more often than not, he's been in and around the first team, and I think Aidan Heaven is quality. I think for a young player to have that sort of aura, I hate that word, but on the ball, like he uses confidence, I think, Aidan Heaven. I think he's so cool, calm and collected on the ball. He's an excellent passer of the ball. He's excellent coming out from the back with the ball. And he's great in the tackle. And again, you're forgetting he's only 18, 19. He's still got the world at his feet. I think he offers great depth on that left-hand side in case Martinez gets injured, because it's obvious everyone likes having a left-footed centre-back as sort of a backup, and Heaven's brilliant at that. I think he's going to play a lot for United. Again, we're quite covered in the centre-back area, in the centre-back department at the minute, but that's good. That's what you want. You want sort of that cover to be in and around that spot, because defence is an integral part of us, and especially us now, because we used to concede so many goals. We still do now. But with all these young players coming up alongside your Martinez, your De Ligt, your Maguire, I think it's good competition. I really like our sort of defensive... what was I going to say then? What the fuck was I going to say? I quite like our defensive outlet, is what I was meant to say. I mean, in terms of a rating for Heaven, it's got to be an 8, hasn't it? I mean, he cost £1 million, and he's very rarely put a foot wrong when he's played, so I can't really have any complaints about Aidan Heaven's time at Man United thus far. Now we move on to this summer, the signings we made this summer, starting off with the goalkeeper in Senny Lammens. Now, it was obvious we needed a goalkeeper because, God forbid, oh my God, we had to put up with Onana, we had to put up with Bayinde. Clear they're not Manchester United goalkeepers, whereas Senny Lammens, I had my doubts, I must say. Young Belgian goalkeeper from the Belgian league, very rarely seen anything about him in the media or online. But he's come in and he's been phenomenal. Now, people might say I'm overrating him, but I think if you actually watch him, he's just a safe pair of hands, and that is what you want in goal. None of this fucking about. You've got Lammens in goal, and he's just safe, he's comfortable, he's calm, and I really like that, because it was so frantic with Onana, so frantic with Bayinde. I never trusted him. Every time another team had a corner, a free kick, I was looking away. I was like, it's going to be a goal. I can't fucking bear it. I can't bear to see what he does this week. But now, with Lammens, I think we're so much more comfortable. And it's clear to see the back line is a lot more comfortable as well. He's not just coming for himself. He's coming and helps the whole team. And I'm really pleased to have him in goal. I think he's been very, very, very good. I was celebrating him catching the ball against Sunderland in his debut. I was like, oh my God, we've got a keeper who can catch. Bravo. But he's come on since then. He can actually offer a lot more. I think he's quite underrated with his feet. I think his passing is really, really good too. I think Lammens has been an 8 out of 10 signing so far as well. I mean, we've only played half a season, and he wasn't even playing until around October time. I think we were playing Bayinde still. I think Bayinde played that derby. We lost to City 3-0, and since then, Lammens has been in goal, and long may it continue. Now, Matheus Cunha is a player I've raved about for so long. Ever since he was at Atletico Madrid, genuinely, when he moved to Wolves, I was like, Wolves have got a player on their hands here. I mean, I thought they overpaid for him, because I think Wolves did pay around 50 million for him at the time, and I was like, yeah, that might be a bit steep, but I knew the player they were getting. I knew how good he was. United used to be linked to him as well when he was at Atletico, and I just knew how good of a player he was. And I remember last January when sort of this contract situation was going on, I was like, I'd love a player like Cunha. I'd absolutely love him. I think he was linked to Arsenal, more important. I think he was going to go to Arsenal in that January. He ended up signing a contract extension which included, I think, a release clause, and then we ended up buying him very early on in the window in the summer, which, again, I've got to clap Ineos for that, because they did get that one right. They didn't waste any time. They got the Cunha deal sort of wrapped up within a couple of weeks, but did it very early on in the window, so he was ready for pre-season. He's phenomenal, Cunha. I knew what sort of player we were getting on that left-hand side, or whether it's in the 10 or drifting in from the left. He just oozes quality, Matheus Cunha. I just can't even explain it. I just think he offers so much. He's Manchester United coded. I think that's all there is to say about him. He's so, so good. And I think a lot of people were doubting him when he came to United. A lot of rival fans were sort of saying he's not really banging the goals in. But remember, he's not that sort of player. You've got to remember that. He provides, he can score goals. He's got the eye for a goal, definitely. but it's everything he does. I mean, he's the player you want the most when you're defending a lead at the end of a game, because the way he wins the fouls, the way he keeps hold of the ball and gets us up the pitch, he's absolutely magnificent at it, and I'm so glad we've got him at Man United. I think Cunha's been an 8 out of 10 as well. I really do. Now, Brian in Burmo is another player I was absolutely buzzing about when we signed him from Brentford. Another one where he wanted to come to the club. He absolutely wanted to come to Manchester United straight away. I just love that straight away. So I was already going into it loving him because he turned down loads of other clubs, loads of other opportunities. We weren't in Europe, but he wanted us. He's played off the right this season. He's played up front. He's played multiple positions, but one thing's for certain is he has got an eye for a goal. He has got an eye for a goal. I think he's our top scorer this season. Another quality player on the ball as well. He's a joy to watch, Brian Burmo. And it's not just the goals he scores, it's who he's scoring them against as well. I mean, he scored at Anfield, he scored against City, he scored at the Emirates. Like, he's scoring big goals against the big teams. He scored against Tottenham as well. So Brian Burmo against these big teams, he's a big game player, and that's what you want. Again, another player I think is Manchester United coded. I think he's been phenomenal. I'd actually say Brian Burmo, for the money he costs, is probably an 8 out of 10 as well. I mean, I was going to say a 9 then, but I've sort of said, he was a bit more money than Cunha as well. I think an 8 out of 10 again. I mean, he's only played half a year and I think he's got so much more to give. Still only 26. Now, finally, Benjamin Sesko brought in a huge price tag, around 70 million, 60 million pounds. I had my reservations, and so far he's not lit it up, but from what I've seen of Sesko as of recently, as of the last 2 months, I've been really impressed. I'm glad he's getting minutes as well. I'm glad he's coming off the bench, because to start in that team, it's going to be difficult all the time. I mean, we never used to cross the ball, so we never really had service. That's been a problem at United for a very long time, under Højlund as well, when he was our striker. We never really created chances for him. And Sesko's not that sort of player to just create chances out of nothing. I think he does need that service. But you saw it on the weekend. I mean, he won us that game. Brilliant from Fernandes and a brilliant finish against Fulham from Sesko. And it's his first goal in front of that Stretford end. I think he's going to be right up for it now. He scored a couple against Burnley, didn't he? He scored against Sunderland, he scored against Brentford. So he is scoring goals. He's starting to do it now. And I think if you actually watch his overall game, I mean, he could have scored a couple against Fulham. He had that headed chance straight away. I think the areas he takes up, I'm really impressed with. Again, another player who really wanted to come to Man United. We managed to get hold of him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he kicks on now till the end of the season. I can see him getting maybe 12 goals in the Premier League. I mean, he's on 5 at the minute. I can see him scoring another 7 goals in the Premier League. 14 games to do so. I can see that. I can see him getting double figures. And for a first season, when the pressure of the shirt at Man United, I think that would be a good season, considering we've only really played Premier League football this year. He's another player who's, again, still young. I mean, we could do with someone like a Harry Kane or someone to help nurture him. An older striker who knows where the back of the net is. And I think that would help him. I mean, he's not really got much to go off at the minute, but I think him coming on from Burmo or Cunha at the end of games, I think is a really good idea from Carrick. I think just on Michael Carrick, he's got everything right so far. I'll do a separate video on him in the future. So I think Sesko's been a 7 as well. I do. I think maybe a 6 because he's only scored 5 goals, but I think if you actually watch him play, he's very good. They were my rankings. What do you make of them down below? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.